What's up, everybody? This is Judah. Today's topic is the truth is not for everyone. But before I get into this lesson, I just want to remind everybody to pay attention to what's going on with the escalation of the wars throughout this world. You're talking about heating up. This thing is hot, and it's just going to get hotter. So I would like to say, please pay attention, because this is going to affect everybody on the planet in some form or fashion. Now, the fact that we can't do anything about these wars and their escalations, the one thing that we can do or do something about is the fact of what divides us as a nation. That's the point of this lesson. As I go through this, I want you to focus on the very things that has caused us to be divided. Now, I have found a whole lot more information on this subject. Unfortunately, it's way too much for me to try to include in this particular lesson. If I was to try, it would be an easy 6 to 7 hour video. I'm just not trying to do that. So our focus today is, why is the truth of our people so divided? So I'm going to start in Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. And my point is to show you the very things that cause us to be divided. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. At that time shall arise Michael, the great prince, who has charge of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never has been since there was a nation till that time. But at that time your people shall be delivered. Now pay close attention to this next verse. Everyone whose name shall be found written in the book. Now, I don't suppose I need to elaborate on that, but I'm going to do it anyway. Those names that are found written in the book, obviously those are the ones that are obeying and keeping the Torah. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38. It speaks of a gathering of nations that will come together in war against Israel. Now, before I go further with this, let me just point something out. When we read scriptures that suggest wars against Israel, we know as true Israelites, we're not in that land. So, does this mean that this war is physically and specifically against us, the true nation of Israel? I believe this is suggesting the things that will come in these days against the people who are in that land unauthorized. Thus, this war that we see today, as we all know, Israel now is at war. And that's gonna make things come to a head. But it can't be directly against us because we're not there. You know, we've been hidden out. Nobody acknowledges us as the true Israelites, at least not as a whole. I have heard other nations speak at this day and time about their discovery that yes, we are the people of the book. But this war right now is a war against outside nations, people who don't really belong there in the first place. In the later years, you will go against the land that is restored from war. Now, we know that the land they call Israel today was purchased by the Rothschilds. So I think that this is referring to the Rothschilds restoring a land that was previously laid in waste from war. So it was them. It wasn't the creator, so to speak. So in the later years, you will go against the land that is restored from war, the land whose people were gathered from many peoples upon the mountains of Israel, which had been a continual waste. Its people were brought out from the peoples and now dwell securely, all of them. You will advance, coming on like a storm. You will be like a cloud covering the land, you and all your hordes, and many people with you. In this war, Israel will be supernaturally rescued by the Creator. Now, that is actually referring to us because, like I said previously, these wars that are happening right now is going to affect every living being on the planet. That includes us. But we have a promise. In this war, Israel will be supernaturally rescued by the Creator. And again, I want to emphasize, we're not talking every Israelite. As was mentioned above, the names that are found written in the book, only those. Only those. So there's a lot of reasons why there's only going to be a few names found in that book. And as we go deeper into this lesson, we're going to discover what is that's dividing us, separating us from each other. So let's look at Joshua chapter 23 and verse 7. Do not associate with these nations that remain among you. Do not invoke the names of their gods or swear by them. You must not serve them or bow down to them. So associate means mingle, or mingle means associate. So here's the definition of the word mingle or associate. Mix or cause to mix together. Now I want to point something out here that also relates to the mingling. It's not just related or directed to the fact of physically mixing with other people or other nations. There's also another relative form of mixing, which is mixing the Torah with the New Testament. Mingling is the core of our problem. Mingling the Torah with the nation's New Testament is the same as mixing with the other nations, which causes divisions among Israel. Why do the true people divide themselves between each other? I got some historical events of a divided nation. 1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 7. And Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Creator besides, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Creator, but I hate him, for he does not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. Now, why would he say that? Because he's evil. he's against the laws, statutes, and commandments. He does not obey the Creator, so he's considered a heathen and a Gentile. So, of course, he's not going to go and inquire of this one person because he already knows that his dirty deeds are going to be exposed, and that is what he don't want to hear. Now, Israel and Judah fight each other. Just a few examples. 1 Kings chapter 15, verses 1 to 8. Rehoboam is succeeded by his son Abijah as king of Judah from 914 to 912 BC. Throughout his reign, Judah is at war with Israel. This is us. This is division of one people who can't even get along with each other. And this is relative to today. We have the same problem today. And as we continue through these written proofs, we're going to discover exactly why that is. 1 Kings chapter 15, verses 9 to 16. Abijah's son, Asa, becomes king of Judah in 912 BC. He burns the idols and cuts down the Asherah poles. He is constantly at war with Israel. Now, Abijah is a part of this nation. He's at war with his own people. 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 17 to 34. Jeroboam's sons, Nadab, is killed by Baasha, who becomes king of Israel in 910 BC. Baasha fortifies Ramah, 5 miles north of Jerusalem, the capital of Judah, to protect himself from the people of Judah. King Asa of Judah then forges an alliance with Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, based at Damascus in Syria, who conquers the northern parts of Israel around Dan and Kinnereth, the Sea of Galilee. So King Baasha of Israel abandons Ramah and retreats north to Tisra, where he builds a new capital in the hill country of Ephraim, northeast of Shechem. The people of Judah occupy the land immediately north of Jerusalem and use the stone and timber from Ramah to fortify Geba and Mizpah. In fulfillment of Ahijah's prophecy, see 1 Kings chapter 14 and verse 10, Baasha destroys the whole of Jeroboam's family. Excuse me. The Great Divide. In about the 10th century BCE, something took place that dramatically affected the people of Israel and still affects them today. What was it? It was the Great Divide, which split the people into the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 16 to 19 tells us, and when all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, "What portion do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tent, O Israel, look now to your own house, David." So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this very day. The kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. In that day, there was a great dispute in Israel, the nation chosen by the Creator, about who was to become king. Rehoboam, Solomon's son, was rightful heir to the throne and reigned after Solomon's death. Jeroboam was a servant who rebelled against Solomon. The 10 tribes of Israel made Jeroboam king, and the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, along with the Levites, remained with Rehoboam. The split was prophesied by the Creator. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 11 to 13, and verse 29 to 39, because of Solomon's sin. The northern 10 tribes kept the name of Israel. The once unified tribes, let me say that again, the once unified tribes, which means they were all together as one nation, of Jacob, were now 2 nations, a house divided. They were 2 houses, or 2 brothers, if you will, that had become enemies. The prophets wept over her fate. They were a people of God after all, but their pride and hunger for power took over. And we continue to fight to this day. So why are we divided? The Old Testament is the first division of the Bible. It is a collection of books which varies from church to church and dates earlier than the New Testament. The New Testament is the second major division of the Christian Bible. It is also known as a new law or a new covenant. I want to show you why that's false. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 to 34. Here's the reason why the previous statement about the new law or new covenant is false doctrine. Jeremiah 31, verse 31 to 34. The new covenant. Behold, the days are coming, that is future tense, declares the Creator, when I will, future tense, make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. That has not happened yet. Not like the covenant that I made with their fathers on the day when I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, my covenant that they broke, though I was their husband, declares the Creator. For this is the covenant that I will, future tense, make with the house of Israel after those days, declares the Creator. Now listen carefully. I will put my law within them, has not happened yet, and I will write it on their hearts, has not happened yet, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And no longer shall each one teach his neighbor and each his brother, saying, know the Creator. For they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, declares the Creator. Has not happened yet, and the proof is in the division. We got 2/3 of our people clinging to a book called the New Testament, which was clearly not written for us, neither was it written by us. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. This has not happened yet. None of this has happened yet. Therefore, there cannot be a new covenant yet until this thing has come to pass. This exposes the Christian New Testament or New Covenant as a false doctrine. This, in fact, is the reason that the truth is not for everyone. Christians simply cannot give up the only hope they know. When you are able to accept the fact that this prophecy is yet to come, it's only then that your eyes, ears, and heart will be open. The very fact that many people are still being taught the scriptures or truth proves this to be a solid fact. So many people today bend and twist the scriptures to fit their own narrative so as to soothe their fears of their demise. Never mind the fact that our Creator never approves human sacrifice, yet they willingly accept the Creator breaking his very own laws of human sacrifice and preach and teach that a man was sacrificed for the sins of others. Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 16 proves that fact. Listen to this. Fathers shall not be put to death because of their children, nor shall children be put to death because of their fathers. Each one shall be put to death for his own sin. So no man, no matter who he is, can die for your sins. That's your responsibility. Your sin is your responsibility. You can't put that on somebody else. And the Creator would definitely not put that on somebody else. And like I said, he would be breaking his own law. Look at Exodus chapter 32, verses 30 to 35. The next day, Moses said to the people, "You have committed a great sin. But now I will go up to the Creator. Perhaps I can make atonement for your great sin." So Moses went back to the Creator and said, "Oh, what a great sin these people have committed. They have made themselves gods of gold. But now, please forgive their sin. But if not, then blot me out, kill me. Blot me out of the book you have written. Take me out of this equation and let me atone for their great sin." Listen to what the Creator says. The Most High replied to Moses, "Whoever have sinned against me, I will blot out of my book, not somebody else. Now go, lead the people to the place I spoke of, and my angel will go before you. However, when the time comes for me to punish, I will punish them for their sin, not punish somebody else." This proves there is no acceptance for human sacrifice. So is human sacrifice acceptable to the Creator after this evidence that was just produced? Look at Judges chapter 11 and verse 29 to 40. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah. He crossed Gilead and Manasseh, passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and from there he advanced against the Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Creator, and he said, "If you give me the Ammonites into my hands, whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me when I return in triumph from the Ammonites will be the Creator's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering." That was a terrible mistake. He did it foolishly without thinking. Then Jephthah went over to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into his hands. He devastated 20 towns from Aroer to the vicinity of Minnith, as far as Abel Keramim. Thus Israel subdued Ammon. When Jephthah returned to his home, remember the vow he made previously? When Jephthah returned to his home in Mizpah, who should come out to meet him but his daughter, dancing to the sound of timbrels? She was an only child, except for her, he had neither son nor daughter. So she was an only child that he vowed to sacrifice, unknowingly that she would be the first to come through his door. When he saw her, he tore his clothes and cried, "Oh no, my daughter, you have brought me down and I am devastated. I have made a vow to the Creator that I cannot break. My father, she replied, you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me just as you promised. Now that the Creator has avenged you of your enemies, the Ammonites, but grant me this one request. She said, give me 2 months to roam the hills and weep with my friends, because I will never marry. You may go, he said, and he let her go for 2 months. She and her friends went into the hills and wept because she would never marry. After the 2 months, she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed. He sacrificed her, and she was a virgin. From this comes the Israelite tradition that each year the young women of Israel go out for 4 days to commemorate the daughter of Jephthah and Gileadite. Many people interpret the book of Judges as a series of heroes defeating villains in the name of the Creator. Looked at in a total, the book of Judges is how the nation of Israel moved further and further away from the Creator and fell under the leadership of flawed and sinful people. This is from associating, mingling with other nations. Jephthah's sacrifice of his daughter was not pleasing to the Creator. It came from pride, arrogance, and pure foolishness. He also spent a great deal of time with people who were not Israelites. Did you get that? This is where influence comes into play among our people. Where does this influence come from? Mingling with people of other nations. I don't care what you tell me. If you hang around a person long enough, you will start to develop some same traits as these people. You ever heard the term, they're a product of their environment? That's never been more true. He also spent a great deal of time with people who were not Israelites, absorbing their culture, and he paid a heavy price. This is the reason for our divisions today. We have so many of our people engulfed in the New Testament and fighting with tooth and nail to hold on to it, no matter what you show them from the book that was given to them, they won't change. They are going to go down with that ship. Doesn't matter how much evidence or how much proof you give them, their eyes are shut to those facts of the Torah and open to the book of death. Cultures in Canaan. The land of Canaan was filled with people who rejected the ways of our Creator. Even after they saw what the Creator of the Hebrews did in Egypt with the 12 plagues, they refused to obey him. After they were pushed out of the land or intermarried, they refused to give up their gods or their practices. The worship of other gods often included human sacrifice, including the sacrifice of children. The Creator hated these practices, and when the people who did them refused to give up their idol worship and evil deeds, the Creator issued justice through the nation of Israel. These false gods included Baal, Molech, and Ashtoreth. Every single scripture that I have presented is why Israel is so divided today. The bending, the twisting of scripture to satisfy their lack of understanding and unwillingness to accept the truth and to obey the Creator. The practice of other nations' worship is not acceptable to our holy Creator. Not only does it condemn us, but it also divides us. The very idea of the Creator sacrificing the his so-called begotten son while punishing anyone who commits such an act is ludicrous at the very least. Not to mention the fact that even if he approved this act, Jesus was beaten, scarred, and blemished, which according to the Holy Creator would be considered non-acceptable for sacrifice. It's these principles among our people that causes divisions. Torah keepers and Christian doctrines, the divisions of Israel. Shalom, family.